So, check this out, people. I want to talk about something that a lot of people aren't talking about when it comes to men, especially back home in the US. Men are becoming obsolete. Unfortunately, men have been feminized by society, and women have become masculine, which doesn't make any sense, because if there are two races, right? If there are two types of man, male and female, and one of them has to be masculine and the other has to be feminine, why is it that it isn't okay for a man to be masculine, but it's okay for a woman to be masculine? It doesn't make any sense that in America, men have become soft, men have become sensitive. Now, being sensitive is not a bad thing. Being soft is not a bad thing either, because we need a balance, especially us men, right, who tend to be hard. Now, when I was growing up in New York, in the Bronx, a man knew his place and a woman knew her place. A woman was feminine, a woman was soft, a woman was gentle, and a woman walked a certain way, right? When a woman walked, she walked like she was modeling. She walked feminine. And today, when a woman walks, you can see the difference between how a woman walked back in the 70s and how a woman handled herself back in the 70s to how a woman walks today and handles herself today in this modern times, right? Women are more harder than men most of the time. Women don't have that femininity that they used to have. And men are now being the ones who walk like girls, who carry a matching bag to match their shoes, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with being stylish, especially if you're a man. There's nothing wrong with being soft. There's nothing wrong with being sensitive, right? Because there's nothing wrong with crying when you're sad. All men cry. I don't care what anybody tells you. Every man cries. If he doesn't, he's not human. And he's lying to you if he tells you that he doesn't cry. But there's a difference between breaking down when you have to be strong, when you have to be the backbone of your family, when you have to be the one to hold things down, when you have to be the one to be strong so that your family can get through hard times. Not be a man and be crying when it's time to be strong. Not be a man and be soft when you have to be hard. If someone has to be hard, why not the man? Why is it wrong for a man to be the one who's strong? Why is it that in America they're teaching our boys that it's okay to be soft, and it is the woman who carries the weight of everything? It is the woman who carries the household. It is the woman who takes care of the kids. It is the woman who works while the man is sitting at home playing his video games. Now, these aren't things that are just made up, okay? A man doesn't just grow up to be this way. These things are taught. These things are instilled in a man. If you instruct a child in his ways, when he is older, he will not depart. If you instruct a child to be wicked, he's going to be wicked. If you instruct a child to be weak, he's going to be weak. If you instruct a child to be strong, he will grow up to be a strong man that his wife, his children can rely on and depend on. And this is why men in the US rarely work, because the woman is the strong one. She works, she takes care of the kids. She doesn't allow him to be a man. Because if he's a man, then he's being misogynistic. Then if he wants to carry the bags for her, then he's being misogynistic. If he wants to hold the door open for her, she can do it herself because she doesn't need him to open the door. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. As if though I won't hold the door open for another man when I get through the door first. You can actually see women get angry at a man who is a gentleman and decides to hold the door open for her because she gets offended that she doesn't need a man to hold the door open for her. This is why she's alone at 35. This is why she can't find a man, or she has to find and settle for a woman. Because she would rather be with a misogynistic female who thinks being a man means walking like a man, acting like a man, and talking like a man. But you can't copy what a real man is. And a real man is strong from within, his heart, his mind. It's not just the way he walks, it's not just the way he talks, it's not just the way he acts. A real man knows how to handle his business, knows how to be the protector of his family, knows how to get up every day to go to work to make sure the bills are paid. And there's nothing wrong with a woman who wants to work. There's nothing wrong with a woman who wants to be out with her friends. That doesn't mean that you're not independent just because you got a man who knows how to handle his business. And that is the problem with American women back home, is that they think that having a man who works, having a man who wants her at home so that when he comes home after 12 hours of work, there's someone there that can make him a sandwich because he's exhausted. There's someone there who can wash and do his laundry. There's someone there who can take care of the kids and the household. Instead, women want to have children out of wedlock. Instead, women want to be single parents. They want to leave their children with strangers while the babysitter is raising her child. She's at work. And the babysitter is the one instructing her child in his ways so that when he grows older, he will not depart. Not from the instructions of the mother, but from the instructions of the nanny or the babysitter. And that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense that a woman wants to be independent so that she can drop off a child to someone else so that someone else could take care of the child that she had out of wedlock because she wants to be an independent woman. So she wants someone else to raise her child for her. That doesn't make any sense. But when a man has a woman and he wants her to stay at home, where she doesn't have to work, where she doesn't have to do anything, where she can watch TV all day after handling her business while the man is handling his business. Instead, a woman wants to be masculine. A woman wants to be on top. And there's nothing wrong with a woman being on top, okay? What I'm saying is that everybody has a role to play. Somebody has to raise our children. And it's not the nanny, it's not the babysitter. It's the one who gave birth to that child that should be raising that child. And if you want to be an independent woman, you can't be an independent mother. It doesn't work both ways. You're either a mother or you're an independent woman, but you can't have it both ways. And this is why America is falling apart, because nobody is raising our children. The ones who are raising our children are people who don't think like us, who don't believe in the things we believe in. They believe what they believe, they teach what they teach, and they instruct your children, not in your ways, not in the ways that you believe, but in the ways that they believe. This is why our boys are becoming gay and our women are becoming masculine, because we got the schools in America teaching our children that a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man. When I send my kid to school, I send him to school to learn that 2 + 2 is 4. I send him there so that he can learn science, social studies, and math. so that when he's out in the real world, he can survive. He can earn a living to support himself and the woman he is with. Instead, we send our children to school so they can learn how to be gay. It is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in the history of the world. And this isn't about being gay or straight. I could care less what two grown-ass men do in the privacy of their home, but I care about what my child does when someone else is teaching him things that I don't believe in, that I don't care to teach my child. I teach my son to be a man. I teach my son to be the head of household, the protector, the strong one, to make it so that he can carry the family through hard times. Good times to share with his wife, and bad times to stick together so that together they can be strong and work through the hard times. Instead, men can't handle when life gets hard. This is why they leave their wives. This is why they don't want to be fathers, because society is teaching our men to be weak, to be soft, to be sheep, to be followers, instead of teaching them to be leaders, to be lions, to be wolves. There's nothing wrong with being the predator. The sheep doesn't want to be a sheep when the predator is hungry. The sheep doesn't want to be the sheep when the shepherd is leading it to the slaughter. The sheep is only happy when it's grazing, when it thinks that life is all good and there's nothing wrong, but doesn't realize that the shepherd in the end is going to lead that sheep to the slaughter. Men are sheep and life is the shepherd. And if men are not careful, we're going to be led to slaughter. It's time that we become men. It's time that women go back to being women. It's time that we play the roles that we were meant to play. Because if you look at society today compared to society before, there were more families than we have today. Men went home to their wives, to their children. Men sat together and shared time with their family and children. They ate together, they watched TV together, they took walks together. They shared their life together. But today, a man comes home, he makes himself a sandwich while his wife is sitting there complaining about not having anything to do or having too much to do. So he makes himself a sandwich and he goes out and hangs out with his friends. And she's sitting at home complaining that the man is never home. He doesn't want to be home because you're not feminine. You don't make it easy for him to want to be around you. For every woman that's masculine, there's another woman who's feminine. This is why I'm in the Philippines, because women here are feminine. For every woman that treats a man like shit, there is a woman that's going to treat him better. Always. And this is why I'm in the Philippines, because women here wash a man's clothes. Women here cook for the man. Women here sit at home with their man. They take walks with their man. They share with their man. And they are interested in the quality of life that that man has. And they want to share that life with him. Because men aren't born happy. Women aren't born happy. You got to make that work. You got to be happy. Because if you're miserable and you get into a relationship, you're going to be miserable in that relationship and you're going to make the person you're with miserable. If you don't make it work, people, it's not going to work. It's time that we grow up. It's time that women play their role. It's time that men go back to playing their role and be men. Here in the Philippines, women love men. Real men who know how to handle their business. This is why when foreigners, American men, come to this country, women look at them differently because they know the type of men we are. They know that we know how to handle our business. They know that. We don't have to ask a Filipino woman to cook, to clean, to do anything. And this is why I'm so impressed with these women. Because when you wake up in the morning, their day starts at 5 a.m. and by 6 a.m. they already have breakfast on the table for you. By noon, they already have lunch on the table for you. By dinner, they already have dinner on the table for you. And you don't even have to ask for it. And the problem with American women is that they think that they have to do these things and that if they don't do them, then they're not being a woman. The fact is that a man appreciates a woman who does it without being asked to do it. And this is why I appreciate Filipino women, because I don't ask them to do these things. They just do it. And what man in his right mind is not going to be with a woman that sets up breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, including Saturdays and Sundays, holds a full-time job, washes his clothes by hand, and makes sure that everything he needs is taken care of? What man in his right mind is not going to go for a woman like that? But women back home in the U.S., they think that men want women who are harder than they are, more masculine than they are, work longer hours, are never home, don't want to cook, don't want to clean, don't want to sit and watch TV with them, don't want to play a video game with them, don't want to take a walk with them, don't even want to have dinner out with them because they're too damn tired after working 12-hour shifts. And then they want to come home to a man who's sitting at home playing video games all day, because that is the role that the woman has been playing back home in the U.S. for the past 20 years. Society has taught us that. Society has made us believe that that is the role of a woman and that the role of a man is to be soft and weak. But that is not what nature has taught us, because if you look at nature, it is the woman who gives birth. It is the woman who nurtures the child. It is the woman who is the backbone of the family. It is the woman who holds the household together, while the man keeps it strong and keeping it move and goes on moving that family forward, continues to move that family forward, so that when those children grow up, they don't mistreat their wives. They don't expect more of their wives than required. They know their place. And if a child doesn't know his place, when he is older, he's not going to know his place. It's time that we start instructing our children, our boys, to be men, and our women, our daughters, to be women, so they can be respectful wives to their husbands, and our children, our boys, can grow up to be respectful men to their wives, their women, their girlfriends.